Okay, sticking with e4 for now. Hasn't failed me yet, and we see c6. I'm trying to remember, but I don't actually think we've seen too much of this variation in the series yet. I'm gonna play knight c3, and I mean knight f3 is a line that's probably gonna work out very, very well. I would say maybe up till about 1300. After 1400, I've noticed that most people really know what they're doing against two knights. Like, after I included it in the Habits series, I feel like people really know now. So it's become a little less desirable. Let's take... We're going to play some combo of g4, check, knight e5, all this stuff. We're going to start with this. Okay, let's start with this one. Sort of maybe threatening more bishop e5 check. Yeah, so e6 kind of walks into my plan of check, because knight c6, I mean, kind of losing material there. So now we'll get the king moving. It's not game over by any means, but we do have the king vacating. That's what we want. How do we continue now? I've got to get some pieces out. I mean, it's nice to have this move maybe coming up, but obviously f6 is a strong reaction, so it doesn't do anything that special. I'm actually going to go here, even though it seems to offer b5. Nice thing now is knight c6 can't happen. And after the move I'm probably about to play, queen e2, we're going to set up new threats with knight d5. I'm liking the prospects there. Okay, queen e2. Bishop g5. Okay, he goes back with the king. Certainly smart to get off that c6 square. All that. But now it's time to go with our h4 plan. If h6, we're more than happy to take. As you can see, this is actually just a huge problem for our opponent now. e6 is hanging. It's almost a shame to take e6 because it allows my opponent to trade queens. So I feel bad even taking e6. You know, it's knowing that the king can't move, I feel like we can do even better than taking. So we're going to be a little bit greedy and not even take the pawn with check and look to castle. Still hanging with check, mind you, but I'm going to focus on castling and playing g5 and see if we can win a different way. I'm all in on castling, and it's move 16. I've got all my pieces out. I'm castled. He can't castle. So I feel like I'm just wishing my buddy here good luck in handling the position. First thing I'm going to want to do is play queen here. That's very uncomfortable for the king. Probably the king has to immediately move. If not, then yeah, g5 should win. This is admittedly a little annoying. I'm actually going to have to take with my queen. I can't lie. He should have taken here, and if we're talking about things that I overlooked in my haste to crush the guy. Knight d4, queen d1, takes, and then save the knight was playable for him. In this spot, he's got a rook hanging. Question is more what I want to do. I think we have to just take the rook. There's a lot of bishop, like, discover checks, but they'll still be there next turn, so we should do this. If knight takes here, bishop d6 will win. Take with the rook, of course. Our opponent was never going to survive this game. After allowing this check, it was downhill. But important after this not to go crazy and like, I don't know. You might think the game is just immediately over, but no, just bring the rest of your pieces out. Don't overcommit. Just save my bishop, queen e2, bishop out, castle. That's all I wanted. But yeah, when the knight's on e5, the reason I played h4 is because the whole point of this opening, if he plays it right, is to get a position that kind of looks like this. And if e6, you kind of play queen e2, but when they play knight f6, you go h4, h5. And it feels very, very nice. Next game. e4. Are we going to get more scotch? No, not quite. All right, he goes for knight f6. I'll take. Very surprised to see knight e4. The amount of, I guess the amount of players that still kind of, I don't know, walk into this. It's a little surprising. It's not like completely lost, but it's certainly not great. What should we do here? d3, queen e7. Usually happens. I mean, I can take and then take on d5. I'm up a pawn, but it's not the most exciting way to play. Still, if knight here, then maybe queen e7 can be played. So if we're playing properly, here we go. Remember, if my knight gets attacked, then I could kind of just move it back and say, okay, well, now you lose your knight and I don't lose mine. f6, there's also queen h5, so there's even more options. But this is kind of pretty well known that if you're playing knight f3, knight f6, you can't just copy me and take the pawn. He goes f6, queen h5 now becomes a very tempting move, probably just the move. I can also take and then go queen h5 in order to take this pawn on e5 back. It all looks very good. Let's start with the simple. Of course, g6, we're grabbing it. And after takes, we could take with the queen and then win this knight back. But I'm greedy. I'm definitely going to take that rook. Now, he doesn't have to take. He could go king e7. Sorry, he doesn't have to play g6. He could go king e7, queen f7, king d6. Something tells me that's not going to be the right thing to do. All right. Well, speak of the devil. If knight f7, queen e8, yeah, maybe it's playable, but not the right vibe. I'm going to kind of blindly go in for this check because it just has to be good. Let's take his knight. I mean, if he wants to take my knight with his king, he is more than welcome. That's going to be a journey into the center of the board. And if he takes this way, he's going to lose to queen d5 and bishop g5. That's taking with a check as well. Kind of has to go here. c8 is hanging. I've got bishop c4 coming. More c5. I always like playing like this, just waiting for this. More and more people playing d3, but it's just a very passive way to play. This bishop is, yeah, blocked in, not doing too much. Okay, I'm going to play queen c7 to stop this. This almost always gets players to play g3 and bishop f4. I'm not sure why. It's like a strong reaction to queen c7. So we'll see if that ends up happening. Okay, he's bringing the bishop out. Let's keep developing. e3. My opponent's making a bunch of pawn moves that don't look very good. I'm not sure really what they're accomplishing. I'm going to ignore things and continue to develop. h3. Actually a strong move when you think about it. Like knight g4 is kind of annoying for him, so I can tell my opponent here is just he's moving too many pawns, so he's probably not going to have a great position as a result, but at the same time, I can't hate on h3. h3 was actually a good one. I'm a little tempted by bishop d6, even though it's in front of the pawn. Conventionally, we would go just d5, but maybe he'll take and go d4, so I'm trying to keep a little more fight in the position. If I'm thinking slightly more on the tactical side, I think I might play knight d4. A lot of moves from my opponent, pawn moves, and knight d4 plays against them kind of directly. This knight is hanging, so opening up the c file wouldn't actually be that smart. Okay, I kind of like bishop d6 here. I think I'm going to throw h5 in. This is always a nice move. It does play e5. It's actually, in some ways, it's not a bad move. Like, it kind of does work. And it will trade some pieces. I do want to go knight here. Or just evaluating if something like that's actually playable. Because he's going to go knight h2, and it's not going to be that good for me. So I think let's keep it a bit more controlled than that and play like this. Can always go all out with moves like knight g4, but I do want to make a point that we're not looking to completely force things. Knight e2 completely caught me off guard. I just was in the middle of a sentence and was planning to play this no matter what, but very, very weird move because, yeah, I should have played queen takes. I actually could have won that pawn there, but I missed my opportunity. Let's go here. We want to get the g-pawn going. Again, I'm not going to be castling in either direction, but if I am going to castle, it's going to be here. He goes c4. I kind of like the way he's playing in a way. Like, may not be the best, but he's... And just to point out, you guys remember Scandinavian? There's a big difference when you actually play like a regular opening versus the Scandinavian. Scandi is making way too many appearances. Let's take and go queen c6. There's not much I can do on this diagonal anymore. So I probably want to play moves like g5 now with some pressure on g2. Castle, g5, rook, g8, g4. I think that'll be good enough. And as I say, I think that'll be good enough. He plays the move h4, which I can only look at as like, damn, like that's impressive, dude. I feel like he really knows. He's not just thinking one move ahead. He's thinking like maybe a few. So shout out to him. g5, got to use my pieces here. Takes. I don't want to bring my queen off the beautiful attacking diagonal, so we're certainly going to take back like this. Pawn takes on h4 is about to be devastating. It's basically going to win the game, so he kind of has to take. All right, well, let's see what he plays after this. I'm going to take on h4, and man, at 800, 900, to have the ability to play moves like this, it still might not fully save him, but you have to respect his defense a little bit. Like, he's going to get a queen trade here. Remember, in this series, it's not the end of the world if we trade queens. He's still probably going to be losing here, and he didn't even trade the queens, so, you know, we can't give him full credit, but I still like his attempt there. d4, d5. It was a try. It was a try. After takes, I mean, it's just going to be dropping a piece here, so... Save the bishop. And probably we can get some checkmate over here. Still need to earn it. Goes rook here. I'll take. Let's play the, you know, the try-hard rook a4. Just to get rook h4 and nice mate here. Nice. More e4. We haven't seen the French too much, but we have played against it. I'm going to play the win hour, or rather knight c3. It's up to him to play the win hour with bishop b4. He doesn't. Kind of opening things up a little bit here with c5. Wondering if we should just go like this. I think I'm actually going to take and then go knight f3. Bishop here, queen here, and long castle. That's the quick plan, because you know we want a long castle. He's probably going to short castle here. Now there's some cases where knight e6 kind of makes sense here to take this dark square bishop, and you also prevent castling. Knight e6 here. I think it's a pretty good move. I'm going to stick with my long castling plan, and he also might play knight c6, so could be nice there. One thing that's a little bothersome after this is maybe knight g4, so I'm going to play f3. Yes, this would be a great move by him, but I'm going to quickly castle. Get the heck out of there. And we'll see if we can launch any kind of attack here. He might play knight c6. Takes, queen takes e3. Yeah, unfortunately here, like, I would love to just go for a more conventional attack, but I think there's some material we can make an effort to pick up here, so it's kind of hard to refuse. Pawn takes, of course there's this, so he's got to take here. I'm hitting his queen, but if I take it right away, bishop takes and takes back, we're actually going to be even. So I was planning to take here and then take on d8, and even though I'm temporarily up a piece and he can go back rook e8 to take my knight, I think I have knight d5 there, and the worst case for me is I give the piece back, but I have some pawns for it. Very nice move. I like it. He's trying to fight the line that I just mentioned, but we'll see if he can do it. I have knight e5 here. I am in a pin, but I've got an extra piece, so I feel like this is always a comfortable spot to be in. Either you hang on to your extra piece successfully and you're doing great, or he plays amazingly, I'm unable to do it, and we're even. So I'm not that concerned. Queen e7, I can't move my knight, or we're just kind of in trouble. So f4 comes to mind, guarding my knight. If knight g4, we can take it. I know I lose a piece here, but I also gained a piece on g4. So the maths successfully for me. And yeah, we have one extra piece here. I'll jump in immediately like this. No matter where the rook goes, even here, knight c7 will be super good. It hits this rook and it will threaten checkmate. He went rook e7, probably the only move that seems to deal with knight c7, so kind of a funny move there. The full irony is that I can still play knight c7 and deliver checkmate, right? If I take here, I just win a rook, but if we go here, we also win the rook. So of course, to add insult to injury, instead of taking the rook, we'll naturally play knight c7 just to hit the rook. I mean, if the guy comes up with his move, he comes up with his move, but I had to put some respect on his move, rook e7, because he called me out. I said, any move, we're going to play knight c7. He called me out, to be honest with you. So I had to play it anyway. Like I was committed there. There was a verbal contract signed. I decided to stick to knight c7. All right. I like the username, Mr. Let Him Know. With the flex. You got the flex going. Mr. Let Him Know. Well, he's about to let the world know why the Scandinavian is a great opening. Let's see it from Mr. Let Him Know. Tell us. Have we been wrong this entire time? The Scandy's actually just a fantastic opening. Now, when people play like this, they want to take the pawn back with the knight, which makes way more sense. Personally, c4 is, in my opinion, just not the way to play. c4, they play c6. They get a great open position. We have a backwards d-pawn. It really doesn't feel good. I'm going to go knight c3, or knight f3 rather. I don't really care. Like, basically, you can take it. I'm not bothered. Let's play d4. Still not even going to play this move. Feel like we don't need to. Keep it simple. Alright, he plays knight d5. Most likely, he's going to be castling kingside here. Don't see the harm in starting with a move like h3, so let's just find out how he wants to play. Yeah, I like c4 here, but I think we can find even things like c3, bishop c4, queen e2 to be just fine. I'm trying to think how I can get castled, maybe queenside. So that's what I'm thinking about right now. And because of that goal, I think I am going to play g4 and knight e5. And this is mainly because I do want to get a very imbalanced game. If I was playing a bit more standard, then I don't think I would do this. Okay, what happens here? I think I'm gonna still take the bishop. c3 is always gonna be a great move. He probably should open up the center of the board here. I'm gonna start like this, maybe to my detriment, but I'm trying to play c3 next. Really want to castle long, but I got a bunch of moves to make still. Yeah, c3, c4 looks tempting, like hitting the knight, but I don't think it's the way to go. We have some very weak dark squares, such as the, you know, it's the price we pay to try to make this position work. Bishop to g5 is probably about to happen. I think we're gonna have to play some knight moves here. Trying to get castled on the opposite side. How are we gonna make it work? Let's go here. Knight d2 next, I think. Trying to stop knight f4. I think all the moves that look normal for black all get knight f4 next. So there's not much I can do about it. Yeah, so he goes here. I think I might start with this right away. The other option is to take and then move this knight. like knight d2. The other thing I'm thinking is maybe he's gonna end up castling long. This I'm just not developing, so I'm gonna decide to take and then play knight d2. It seems like the best way that I will be able to long castle. Also, knight e4 might be happening. Sucks to allow moves like this. But that's the position. If our g-pawn was back on g3, we'd have a great position. But you can't really think like that because I had to play g4 to get his light square bishop. So his light square bishop wouldn't be off the board if that were the case. All right, bishop f1, I have to admit, does look like a pretty tempting move. I think I am going to play it just to keep some pieces on. h4, knight e4 all become tempting options next. Remember, knight e4 is essentially going to win this knight. So knight f4 looks good to take the bishop, but if I play a retreating move, not easy to expect, I think he's got to go pretty aggressive here. Okay, he castles that way. Bishop a6 is a funny looking move here. It's definitely good in theory. We'll do this and see how he reacts, because the queen is hit, the knight on f4 might be hanging. We might have some moves here because we're not castled, and that's concerning. So I do not think this game is over or anything. Might have a couple very tricky options. All right, queen h6, great move. If g5, queen h4, once again, he does hang on to the knight. And even though the queen's very offside here, castling is not the most tempting. It's funny because if I castle and he goes like knight check, I actually feel like he'd be making a mistake. Those knight moves don't look very good. The knight's just like trapped after. But g5 kind of makes more sense to prevent it. Maybe we go with the high energy option, castling. Allowing every single knight check here. And strangely, I'm saying I don't think any of them are good. So, risky approach. He doesn't have a bad position at all. He's fighting very well. The Scandinavian, where the queen doesn't come out, imagine. If only this guy could let him know about that. I feel like that's what the people are missing. Okay, let's bring this king over. Some intentions here. I feel like I worked so hard, like I sacrificed the quality of my position in order to castle queenside, and then this guy just castled queenside as well. So we feel like we didn't even accomplish anything there. It's like, wait, after all that, I'm on the same side as him? We're very behind in development, so we're going to prioritize that and get this bishop out. Yes, there's a hanging pawn here, but it seems like if I really want to take it, I'll be able to take it next turn regardless. Hitting the rook there. Basically just hit and run. In and out. I can see him going rook e6. funny enough, it would actually maybe be the move now. Now it wouldn't be that bad. Oh, there was the one moment when he probably should play it because knight d7 was covered. Damn it. Damn it. Mr. Let him know. GG. All right. d4. Yeah, one of the main things about this series is I don't try to go like all out and sack material or do anything too crazy. Like, as you can see, I'm going to start by playing a fairly normal looking opening. And yeah, I want to keep attacking ideas in mind, but I don't think I'm really going to, basically take like unnecessary risks. Kind of thinking of knight a5 here. Don't really want to allow this at the moment. Rook b8 is nice and safe. a5 does look okay. I think we'll take the safe move. Rook b8. Kind of sucks because I wanted to castle that way. So that I'm not excited about. But we also don't need to castle at all in the current position, so. Okay, let's stop bishop b5. I'm not really a fan of it. He's gonna go back, man. This is annoying. Okay, this one looks more normal, but I wanna try to create something here. Goes knight h4. Yeah, not much I can create. Takes, maybe pawn takes. Try to get f4. We want him to be tempted by moves like d5. That kind of helps me out, I think. And the nice thing is, even though I'm maybe going to castle this way, we can still attack on this side of the board. Okay, bishop there. h5, he'll probably go h4 takes and g3. So let's just start with g6, nice and solid. He can still do this. I'll move out of the way, and most likely this king wants to go here. I do live in Canada, and I'm sure I'll be at the candidates tournament because we're probably not only doing commentary to some extent, but also hosting some on-site events. So we'll be quite involved at the candidates, I'm thinking. Queen here. Just really feeling like he's kind of bailing and going this way. That's what I'm expecting. Let's go here. f6 or e7? Kind of hard to say. I'll go here. I'll take with the pawn. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that he wants to castle that way. At least now we have this kind of position where we're gonna be attacking on opposite sides, which is nice. Even though we don't have many pieces on the board, we're gonna try not to exchange queens, mainly. He goes here. Yeah, we can go with a5, but my king being in the middle means I don't have a lot of backup. Like here, a3, king b2. I think I'm gonna start like this. Maybe knight d5, but even just rook c. I also want to figure out what he's gonna do. Like, if he's going f3, like g4, maybe I don't want to castle immediately into that. He does go f3, which looks like a good move. Here. Let's start with the Start with the rook c8 move. I'm kind of expecting king b2 as a reaction, but it doesn't have to be right away. This one would be great, but now king here is so natural because it defends everything. Everything is actually defended right here, so it's not like it needs defense, but it still looks like a good move. I think this is a mistake. He might be planning queen d4, at which point we could just take on c3. Yeah, this is the kind of move we wanted to see from him. He was actually doing a good job having all his pawns on dark squares, but this push is a mistake, I think. Takes here is way too much with my king in the middle, I think. He definitely can go queen there next. Technically, castle's a great move. Knight f5 might go, let's say, g4, which is a little bit annoying. I think it's the way to go. It stops this, which is my favorite part about this move. Yeah, if I can not trade queens, then I'll be happy with that. I think if g4, I'm going to play knight g3. And in the meantime, my next move might be castling. Yeah, he's really playing all the, like, I would say annoying moves. So we're hitting the rook. He's going to respond to that. If we take, he can take with the rook. If we take here, bishop takes f5. Bishop has to move again, and then rook takes h4. I think that's the best. He always has queen d4, but yeah, we're invading with rook takes h4 and rook h2. Yeah, so now if the queen goes over, like we have takes, and bishop g2 saves the bishop, but then that. Okay, yeah, so I mean, he gets to trade queens, but comes at a serious cost, which is an entire piece. So obviously, we'll be happy to do that, and he's going to resign right after. Yeah. Okay, e4 has definitely been the way to play so far. But we'll wait to see if people start handling the scotch a little bit better. Until now, 950, as you can see, people have not been handling the scotch well at all. And for that reason, I'm going to continue to play it. It's one of the simplest starting moves. Okay, he goes here. Let's just develop. Once again, there might be good stuff if I take, but pieces out is always going to be a good thing to do. a6. I mean, he really wants to play b5, I guess. Definitely a move like a4 is going to be just fine here, but I'll really drive the point home by just developing. Like, he can play his b5, just react like this. We have 4 pieces developed. And we're almost going to be castled here and get our queen out. So if we get that all done before move 10, we'll be pretty happy. Here. Might take this pawn just to clarify things, but yeah, these moves look pretty good as well. I kind of like this one for some reason. I like to stay on this diagonal. I'm gonna go here. Well, I think you guys can appreciate that a move like f5 is not going to be good. There's no way. There's no way. All right. Feels like we have a lot of options here. this, they all come to mind. Even this, you know, to some extent he can meet by going d5. I think we're going to take a really simple approach, which is taking here. Knight g5 looked like quite devastating, but I'll just do this and I'll castle. In this series, I'm, like I said, not trying to go too all out. I mean, we already have a free queen. We could delay it in favor of other things, but let's take it. Continue to open the position, and our opponent is just going to be dead here. There's no way he can expect to survive. Yeah, but in the beginning of the game, Goal 11, I notice a lot of people, they do too much trying to attack. They do way too much. Let's take with the queen, bring the rook. People go all out early on, and yeah, knight g5 might work there, but if I'm taking and opening the center and castling and getting my rooks to the middle, that's the more like fundamental approach to attacking. My opponent can't castle, so this is just a way that you'll never mess up. If you go knight g5, you're trying to get something to work with bishop f7. I could see, you know, you overextending, something could go wrong. But if you're like castling and bringing your pieces out, you just know that you're gonna win. Okay, knight c7. King here is actually a really nice mate. King here, we have knight e6. Check. And how can we get our mate here? Maybe in a few different ways, but this check looks reliable. He's got to go here. Mate available, but check, and mate will do the trick. e4. I'll play c5. I've also played a lot of e5 games. One thing you'll notice about this series is I'm not playing the exact same opening every time. Just more of a general theme to kind of play a bit more aggressive. Okay, I love our Sicilian because a lot of people just play bishop c4, knight f3, and we also get a pretty nice attack going. So gaining lots of space. This bishop is pretty bad on those pawns there. He's developing. We're going to do the same. Knight here. So he goes immediately h3, h5, and knight g4. A lot of people like to do this, but this is an example of a position where that actually makes a little bit more sense. It really does. So we're going to go here. I expect bishop g5, and we do see it. Knight g4. Not foolproof. He's going to go bishop back. And guess what? I think he wants to go there. So let's go bishop e6. We're always kind of inviting him to take. He goes here. That's bold. We're already going to be winning here. Knight e3 is just winning material. And of course, queen takes g3 is attacking. Queen g3 is going to go queen e1. So I'm not saying it's the wrong way to play, but after queen e1, I don't really have a superb reaction. So in this position, knight e3 is actually just a much better move. And if queen e1 to guard this pawn, I could play knight c2 and take. So I think we'll do this. We'll take our material, and now I'll play queen takes g3. Okay. This is a good lesson here. I'm going to take, and you might be like, what the hell? I thought this was the attacking series. It is. I see a lot of people when they're up material, just because they're attacking players, they play a move like queen g6 here. And it's like, okay, you're allowing queen takes c5. It's just not the way to play chess. If you're up material, you've already won the game. Take your win. Enjoy it. We did attack. We went h5, knight g4. If his reaction to our attack is to immediately lose material, that's a win. Take that. It would be disrespectful to your attack you just launched to not take the material. This bishop is also terrible on that square there. Let's go g4. Takes, g3, he loses the knight. We also have this knight coming in, check. He's running his king over here, but buddy, I'm not done attacking you. I didn't say that was okay. Even without my queen on the board, I'm still launching an attack. So make sure if you have a chance to just be up material and trade the queens. One of the toughest things here is like being up material, but then they still have their queen on the board. You can still get attacked. But if you get to be up material and trade queens, I mean, you should win the majority of those games. Okay, I'll go Sicilian again. I do like these kind of positions. And like I said, at the readings we're at, a lot of people play it. Knight f3, bishop c4. And our system or our setup, let's say, has been really consistent every single time. Okay, he's gonna go c3. Let's go d5. I wonder if he's gonna put the bishop there. We'll develop. I'm waiting for him to castle. Bishop e7 is the obvious looking move here. But I'm kind of wondering about bishop e6. And then maybe like bishop d6 and try to get castled the other way. Yeah, I don't think it's that easy to accomplish. So we'll just play the safe move. Knight here. The thing is that I'm not that keen on castling this way. So yeah, we'll wait and see, but that's a really bad move as well. Now he can't move his d-pawn, which means these two pieces, well, they're trapped. They've got nothing to do. Okay, let's go here. I want to stop knight e5 for the moment, and I know these pieces are not coming out immediately. Even knight a3 threatens nothing. So my next move is probably going to be this. And if h3, you guessed it, I'm probably going to play h5 and then castle this way. And then we'll have a pretty nice chance for an attack there. But notice how I'm not going full crazy yet. Like, there's still a game to be played here. I'm doing this because I'm way ahead in development compared to him. He's got a queen out, like 2 pieces, one of them not even on a great square, and he's castled. I'm ready to castle the opposite direction. Maybe play bishop d6, knight e5, and this always looks off limits. But yeah, certainly this move next. So you'll notice a pretty common theme, putting some piece on g4 and then playing h5 when you're not castled. Because if they take, hopefully you've got a piece aimed at that square and your rook joins in the attack there as well. So he's going to get out of the pin. Honestly, a pretty smart decision, and we're going to immediately castle. Get out of the middle of the board. Maybe get this move in next. I'm assuming he's still not going to be doing that. Pushing this pawn is also a pretty nice follow-up here. Knight h4. Okay. First move I'm looking at is pawn here. The next one would be bishop there. Both look reasonable. If I play bishop there, I'm wondering if he goes d4. So I'm kind of interested in playing this myself. Yeah, I think I might do this. You know, if he takes, maybe we can take with the knight, make some real threats. So I like that. Gaining some space. I want to do it before he does d4. Because now if he plays d3, he's blocking this bishop to develop that one. Okay, queen here. Certainly the most testing. But if I'm not mistaken, there might be a queen to be won here. This looks like an interesting move, but it kind of chases the piece there. I'm looking at maybe rook d5 as an option. It looks like he's kind of tying himself in a knot here. Rook d5, and then the other option is moving this knight to hit these guys. So yeah, I'm really spoiled for choice here. But yeah, I think we can win this queen. I do. Rook d5 looks good, but I think we can do a little bit better. So if knight d5, like he's got bishop here, but we'll just go out of the way. The queen is hit. The queen's only square is g7, and then bishop f6. I know there's a hanging piece, but bishop f6 just traps it. So strangely, I think this is an example where knight d5 is a little bit better than rook d5. I've got every piece developed here, every piece working. This is a good move by him, but I don't have to take it. Now his queen is still attacked, so he'll have to respond. Yeah, so bishop here should win material. I've also got this knight hanging. Because I've got the knight hanging, I'm thinking I should probably take it first. And then if the bishop falls, then I come back to take the queen. Because after this, I don't think the queen's getting out. So I feel like this is the greedy yet correct approach. Obviously, our bishop is lost. But I'm playing with every single one of my pieces. He's playing without half of his. Yeah, let's just go win the queen here. Of course, taking here also looks like a pretty nice move, but this was our plan from the start. He's got two pieces developed. One of them is his queen, which he's about to lose. It's hard to make a suggestion for the opponent here, isn't it? Queen takes rook objectively, right? That's the best looking. We're going to take back, and guess what? You lost your queen, but I'm still on the attack. I've still got every piece mobilized here. All right, that might be, let's say, the best move he's played all game, but remember, he's still playing without pretty much all of his pieces. So I'm going to continue to involve another one of mine. And we'll be able to finish off with a nice checkmate here. Check. The king can't move. And then, of course, the queen comes in to finish things off. GG. Okay, we're sticking with e4 here. c6. We haven't seen a lot of c6. I'll probably be choosing a different line later, but for now, I'll just stick with the two knights. Bishop f5, knight back, and he does go for bishop g4. I think h3 is fine here. Can also go bishop c4, which I might do. Knight here. There's this common thing. So yeah, e6 would be a bit better, and then probably play h3. Just looking to take the bishops. Okay, so the king normally goes to the king side in this opening. It's just how it works. Okay, just hitting the bishop. Not really a big deal, this move, but looking to develop our bishop next, and then probably long castle. Okay. Maybe knight here, knight d6 could be nice, but takes, knight b6. Actually, both of our bishops are hanging there, so wouldn't be exactly what we want. Let's take and let's castle. Now, he can definitely still like long castle, but that's not going to be what he really wants to do. So in some ways, this is one of the first, you know, real examples of opposite sides castling in this series, I feel. So let's play h4. I feel like stopping bishop g5. King b1 is a A+ move. He decides to take it, which, like, to me is insane. He's opening up my rook. I'm happy to give a pawn for something like this. So queen h5 and queen h3 look fantastic. Queen h5 just looks better. Like, feels like it does the exact same thing, except yeah, more aggressive, better move. But yeah, there's no way you should be opening the h-file as black there. If it was possible, I would happily take this pawn and just pick it up and throw it off the board. That I would prefer to do that. All right, so he's gone g5. At this point, he's effectively trapped his bishop. So because he's trapped it, I'm kind of looking at this position like, okay, I know I'm winning. Bishop d3 even as an intermezzo also looks kind of nice. Rook takes h4, believe me, is coming to mind. But bishop d3, he's always going to respond f5. So it's not like it's a forced win or anything. Bishop e5 looks like a great move. Bishop d6 hits the rook and prepares g3. So I am kind of spoiled, but I do have to be careful about moves like knight f6. So bishop d6, knight f6 is a perfect example of what I wouldn't want to do. Takes looks great for mate, but queen takes is a check. Also not what I'd like to do. g3, knight there, you know, maybe bishop there once again. So I don't know, it does feel like bishop e5 is kind of the simplest approach. I like that it stops knight f6 for the most part, or at least deals with it, because knight f6, I could just go queen h6. And if he takes, I'm happy to take back, hitting the queen. And not only do I have g3, but I also have bishop d3 as a threat. So I'm feeling pretty good about my chances here. Might go queen c7. Okay, queen a5, definitely a good move. Mainly because I have some ideas of lifting this rook to deliver a mate, and this move kind of prevents it. So, you know, annoyed by that. Rook takes, check here, check here. You know, I wish there was a mate there with rook d4, but there's this. So I think I'm going to go to my other plans. What did I say they were? Bishop here and pawn here. Both look very reliable. I like bishop, starting with bishop here because, well, I still have g3. But let me threaten checkmate first. Yeah, f5. So we're going to take, and again, we're threatening mate. And the best part about rook f7, I mean, it covers mate, so it's a great move. But we can take this bishop, and it'll actually be pinned to the queen. This doesn't help. Now we can actually just get checkmate in 2. And we don't even need the bishop on d3 here. Very nice. All right, more e4. Oh no, this guy's at 999. He should know that later on, when he's, you know, 8 points away from a goal, that it's gonna just show up in his bank account one day. Okay, we have our, it's kind of our starting position, right? The Scotch, except with a knight exchange, feels good. Knight out, pretty nice. I'm gonna stick with bishop c4. Let's keep developing. I don't like bishop g5. Seems like it plays into his hand, so I'm just gonna go here. I do expect him to castle, and we'll just hop over to the other side. Great move after you castle, even before you go all out with an attack, is often king b1 or king b8 if you're playing with the black pieces. So takes in e5 is certainly going to be the best way to play here. No doubt about it. Trying to maintain a little bit more play. Maybe just e5 straight away. Where's bishop d6 though? Thanks Gaxi92 for the 30 months. Bishop here. Kind of want to keep my bishop on the board actually. But bishop d3 is not exactly the best move. So let's play a slightly more aggressive move. G4. I don't feel that I'm doing that much better than my opponent right now. He's developed, castled. He's doing some good things, but I have a little bit more space, and I'm kind of offering him this pawn in a couple different ways. So, wow, okay, he just goes back. Bishop h6 comes to mind. Man, there's a lot of tempting options here. I think keeping it simple with bishop h6 is probably the way to go for now. Yeah, okay. He's going to go knight h5, which means bad things are going to happen. Starting with rook takes g7, and you need the power of an open file. That'll just be a mate right there. Not in too many moves either. Your attacking chess will improve if you follow this series and learn the basics first. I promise you. Subscribe to chessbrah on YouTube if you're not subscribed already, and click that bell to turn on post notifications so you never miss another upload.